Sai Ram, it's 5 o'clock. Let's start the study circle with 3 ohms. Sai Ram. So, as you know, we have been continuing the discussions on Bhagavatha Vahini. We are on session 47. And as part of that, we have been discussing Swami's discourses as relevant to the chapters of Bhagavata Vahini as appropriate. So before we start on today's discussion, let's offer a small prayer to Swami to please be with us and to guide us and to talk through each one of us. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, before we start on the discussions, just a brief about the etiquette. Please mute your cell phones and please be respectful and open-minded. And let's talk from our hearts and not the display of intellectual prowess. And let's ask discussions that arise and let's not hold back in our discussions. We feel free to ask and discuss any points that come to us because we want to let Swami speak through each one of us without any of our own judgment about its relevance. Sai Ram. And most of all, we would like to leave our ego outside of this discussions. Sai Ram. So as part of the Bhagavata Vahini, we have been discussing chapter 14. And there, where just a brief, where the Pandavas decide to leave to the forest or leave Parikshit to handle the kingdom and to leave the place. And so that is where we are in chapter 14. And as part of it, we were discussing about the unity of thought, word, and deed, and what is the right action, and all those topics we had discussed. And we will continue our discussions on unity of thought, word, and deed. That's where we will start, and then move on to leadership and dharma as time permits. So with this one, let's move on. Before we start, if there are any questions from last week's discussions, feel free to discuss. Sai Ram. Sure.
The role of intellect, that was the theme of the message thought of the day, which Venkatji read in the end.
Yeah.
I definitely did not want to lose that page.
Yeah.
That was so important. I mean, that was so important. If anyone remembers that, otherwise I can repeat.
No, I can
yeah.
put that one. I did not add that initially. What I can do
Somehow
is to
those pages which are read in the end are getting lost.
okay.
That they don't get a part of discussion. That's so important.
Okay. So let me go to that just 1 second. Thought for the day last week. I did send it to Manoj ji. Just 1 second. I think I have it here. Let me put that. Okay. So I'm going to, yeah, I can copy that. Yeah. Okay. So let me put it in Word and we can. Okay. Um,
Y-
Manoj,
Yes.
sorry,
Uh,
Om, why don't you read it?
In big factories, the workers and all kids discharge their duties properly by obeying the instructions of their immediate superior officers. Such a process is conducive to the efficient uh, running to the organization. Elaborating on this theme while dealing with karma yoga and sannyasa yoga, the Gitchara addressed the Arjuna and said the senses control the body and the mind controls the senses. The mind, in turn, is controlled by the intellect. Being closest to the Atma, Buddhi, intellect best reflects the attributes of the Atma. The influence of Atma directly falls upon the Buddhi, and therefore the Buddhi functions as the presiding faculty in man. The mind generates thought, which is checked and allowed to remain by the intelligence in every human being. The intelligence alone has the power to make decisions and to discriminate between good and bad. Individuals often get upset and troubled by the desires
Arise.
that arise in their minds. However, if they follow the dictates of their intelligence, their minds get lulled into submission and their actions result in happiness. Here is a small illustration. In this gathering, there may be a person who thinks Swami's discourse may go on for another half an hour. If I catch a bus after the discourse is over, I might miss the second show of a movie. So it may be better to get up now and go. This is the prompting of the mind.
But
But then the intellect comes on the scene and counsels, no, no, don't leave. An opportunity to listen to Swami's discourse dealing with profound truths relating to the Atma and the spiritual life will not come to you again. It is a rare blessing and should not be squandered away. Stay on and listen to Swami. The mind then follows the decision of the intellect. It must be so in if life's purpose is to be fulfilled. Buddhi is directly influenced by the Atma. Therefore, if the mind follows the Buddhi, it will be able to lead the senses along the right path. So, Krishna advises Arjuna not to follow the mind, which left to itself is prone to succumbing to the pulls of sensory pleasures, but instead to subjugate it to the intellect. For going about in a chariot, it is the charioteer who has the most important role to play. Neither the horses that draw the chariot nor even the owner who is seated therein is competent to ensure a safe journey. It is the charioteer alone who can do it. If he is not accomplished, the horses will will berserk will run berserk and drag the chariot hither and thither. Therefore, the charioteer must be competent enough and experienced to do this to his job properly. Krishna said, Arjuna, your body is a chariot and your senses are the horses. Your mind acts as the reins and your intellect is the driver. If you let your intellect guide your life's journey, you will reach your ultimate destination safely. Arjuna emerged victorious in the battle because this charioteer was Krishna, the source of all intellect. To install Krishna as our charioteer is the most sacred and flexuous means by which we can attain the goal of life. If, however, we have an inept person as the charioteer, as Karna's charioteer Salya was, we will get discouraged every minute of our lives and eventually lose the battle we wage against our inner foes.
yes.
so we can go to few points which are important.
Yeah.
Why did they give the example of Karna's charioteer Shalya? Shalya, you know the story behind it, if anyone. Shalya, why did they mention
Please
it?
share that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the story is that Shalya was somehow trained to discourage Karna. Keep telling them, if you keep telling someone, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do this. See, your arrow is not straight. See, your bow is not straight. See, your arrow just missed Arjuna. Instead of encouraging, you're discouraging. So he was trained to negatively influence Karna on purpose, on purpose. So he got discouraged, and he could not aim that well. So that's why they mentioned it. So that was the story behind it. I just wanted to mention for people, if you don't know the story.
Good side.
Shalya was discouraging negativity, negative, negative.
Mhm.
Keep pinching someone, small things,
Yeah.
you lose the track. That was one part of it. Second part was, as everyone understand, and so that everyone know it already, but I'm just repeating it. Mind, we in common language, in English it's called mind, in Hindi it's called mana.
Mhm.
Mana. So people should not confuse mind as brain. It's mana. Mana chanchal. Mana is directly related to the senses. And intellect is that buddhi. So it's all up here only, but they are going deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So stool is the stool body, sharir, then becomes the sense organs, the senses. The senses are controlled by mana, and mana is supposed to be controlled by buddhi.
Mhm.
And buddhi is the deepest structure which is close to atma, in which that is the chidabhas, in which that chidabhas comes with whenever it's more pure. So that's a series of, so that we can correlate from stool to sukshma. We are going stool is gross to sukshma.
Mhm.
And as we go sukshma, they are the bosses. They are the bosses. The boss is inside. So if you correlate, that's a Vedantic thing. Wanted to go from Atman, Buddhi, Mana, senses, and the body going outside and then coming inside. So that's how it is directly in contact with Atman. And it is supposed to be the leader of controlling the mana, which is to be controlling the senses, not to run there. So that's how this series I wanted to just mention. So
But just to extend on that one, if you look at the Swami's starting off this one, he says a factory will run properly if all the people obey to their immediate bosses. So, as you said, there are 4 levels. If the buddhi acts in negation to Atma,
or if the buddhi is not smart enough,
smart enough,
or if
or
the buddhi is
if
not smart enough, then it will lose the track.
it will lose the thing. So it will deviate, or the mind. If the mind does not follow the buddhi, or in other words, if you don't follow what the buddhi says, if you're attracted to, see, the buddhi will keep telling you what it's a prompting of the atma, because buddhi is closest to the atma, so it will tell what is right. So that is what we say. I mean, our heart keeps telling that this is what is right for you, but if your mind goes with the sensory objects, or with the outside thing, or it follows the senses, it's going to be deviating from from what the atma says. And what will happen is that will not be efficient in your spiritual progress. That's what I think Swami's analogy there is. Yes.
Sairam, when I was reading that in the first paragraph, being closest to the Atma, Buddhi, intellect, best reflects the attributes of the Atma. So here, when they say Atma, I don't think it means Brahman, the ultimate Brahman, because the Brahman also is referred to Atma, which has no attributes, and it doesn't influence anything, the intellect. So one clarification here is the Atma is the reflected consciousness we talked about.
I agree.
So that's a Jivatma, practically.
It's
That's
Jivatma.
Yeah,
I agree.
it is
Yeah.
Jivatma. That is one. And Shankaracharya said, we talked about before, the Kinkarasya Kingare Kingari Kritoham. I am the servant of my servants, right? The mind should be our servant, and the senses are the servant of the mind. But what happened is we became the servant of our senses. So this is where the intellect takes a backseat, and we are controlled by the senses all the time.
Yeah. So because he mentioned sankalpa, that's a typical word they use. Man will always do the sankalpa vikalpa. Sankalpa, this, doing that. Gets confused, cannot differentiate. That's where the role of buddhi comes in to nischay. In Hindi, in Vedanta, there are three words: sankalp, vikalp, and nischay. Sankalp, vikalp is, should I do this or should I not do this? Because senses are asking for it. Mana is sankalp, vikalp. That's the role of allotted to mana.
I
The
want to,
Buddhist role is to do the nischay. Which one is good for me? So that is the nischay. That's the role assigned to buddhi. So now it depends on how kushagra your buddhi is, how high level your buddhi is, how sharpened your buddhi is to decide good or bad. That answers to Somyaji's initial question: when should I go to Morgantown or should I go to Virginia Beach? That's, man will, but when we apply your intellect smartly, so that will decide this is the right thing to do.
I want to bring in a devil's advocate here. So the mind, yes, follows it gives you this idea. Intellect says no, but then the mind will try to know, also go and argue with intellect with all the previous data. You at that time you did this, at this time you did this. And so the intellect by itself can actually lead to a misleading decision. So what happens here is the third concept of it, where the Atman comes in, is really the conscience. There is something that in the back says, even to the intellect, no, don't go there. That, that argument is not correct. So I think you need to bring in the third component, which is the conscience. So that I think somewhat, you say intellect is sharp. I think that is where all that comes from, the conscience.
I'm sorry to interrupt here, sir. You are saying so right, but according to Vedanta, what Swami is saying is the ultimate. Don't take it otherwise, because this is the theme of Vedanta. There are a lot of other deviations. We have created a third identity, conscious, and all those words. But this is what Swami has explained here is mana buddhi. This is the somehow I don't know what you are meaning by consciousness. There's nothing else cause. I think Umaji might explain that. There's nothing called consciousness. Is it conscious? Conscience. What is conscience in conscious? Sorry. What is conscious?
Conscience is like what we call that manasakshi, that the minds, the bit.
Sakshi will never interfere.
Yeah, no, that sakshi is the witness, that Brahman, the ultimate.
But Sakshi will never interfere in your job.
It won't. That's what I said. Atma doesn't have attributes. Sakshi doesn't have attributes. It doesn't do anything. It is just being there as a witness. Like the movie screen, whatever movie is playing in it, it has no part in it. It is just witnessing. Similarly, the witness is ultimate. But the conscience that we feel, we think, this is what I should do, that actually that intellect which is telling you what to do, what not to do. Right, part of it. Yeah, it is a reflected. Right. Yeah. See, the intellect also, there are different types, like subtle intellect, which, the mind is a thing, mind is always, feelings, emotions, good, bad, all kind of, we are so occupied with the mind's activities, but intellect is the one discriminates for us.
So I have so Arvind, this time when he came to retreat, he was talking about that, when two things arise in your mind, both seem right. So it is like, in the movies, they show a devil in red and then the good one in white. But in reality, they don't, both of them show up as white only. You cannot differentiate between red and white. So how to differentiate, he talked about. He gave examples. Does anyone remember the examples that he gave? It was really good. Because
it's good to review that one.
Review one.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he said, and which is true, right? Both of them seem right. Exactly. And as you said, the mind will try to tell you that no, this is the reason why I'm doing. And you cannot differentiate between intellect and mind at that point. Both will sound exactly like it is intellect talking, right? So the only thing that the examples that he gave, I want to go back and revisit. Maybe next time we can do that. But the crux of it was that anything that is good for the mankind, higher up, not just you, but you are first encompassing the society, taking that into the thing and then saying that is good for this because of this action. That is the action that needs to be taken, is what he said. But we should go back.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I remember that. Yeah, correct. Correct. It's like yeah, he said, yeah, that chapter, he can just brush through and
Yeah.
then justify that as if he has finished because he
Yeah.
had promised to Swami that he
Yeah.
will finish the chapter
Yeah.
before eating.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So like, let's say 20
Correct.
chapters,
Correct.
but then the lunchtime is coming, they will close the canteen. So his mind is saying, who is going to watch you? Just go and eat.
Yeah.
Then you will be hungry. If you don't eat, how can you study? All this mind is prompting
prompting and
Right.
telling, justifying all that.
all this.
Why
right?
he should just finish it quickly
Yeah.
and then move.
Yeah. And it said, you just said you will read. You didn't say you will study. So just to read, you don't need to understand anything. See, mind can play all these games, right? Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I
Yeah.
think it's good to review that one. It's a wonderful talk. It's a very thought-provoking talk and very relevant.
He does that. He didn't finish. He just quickly skimmed through, went and ate lunch, came. Evening when Swami said, lunch is very important, You didn't read.
Yeah. You use the mic. Yeah. I think we should review that one. I think that whole talk is very relevant. Especially that portion is very relevant to this what we are discussing. Yeah. So I think we will move on. Anything else, Manojji, you want to talk about this thought for the day? Okay. So we will move on to where we had left last time. Just hold on. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. So we are discussing the unity of thought, word, and deed. That's where we left last time, and we will take up what we did last time was to read Swami's quote, and we were discussing part of it. We did not finish completely. So let's continue. Om, why don't you read this talk once again?
Perform only such action. Perform only such action that will please God. Then only will you as a human being become meaningful. Of all living beings, human is the rarest. Do not waste such a precious and rare human birth. You will lose your humanness completely if you indulge in falsehood, injustice, and unrighteousness. Therefore, have good thoughts, good speech, and good vision. See good, do good, and be good. This is the inner meaning of human life. Some people may appear to be good and smiling, but their mind is filled with evil intentions. This is not good.
Okay, Om, let me read that Sanskrit verse. Manas yekam vachas yekam karman yekam mahatmanam. Manas yanyat vachas yanyat karman yanyat duratmanam. Okay, so
Those whose
go ahead.
Those whose thoughts, words, and deeds are in perfect harmony are noble ones. Those who lack harmony of these are wicked.
Wicked.
One should have unity of thought, word, and deed. If you have unity, you will attain purity, and purity will lead you to divinity. Therefore, purity in order to attain divinity. Saying one thing and doing something else is not good. This is no unity and at all. How can you have purity when you are devoid of unity? Therefore, if you want to have purity, you must have unity. Suppose somebody criticizes you, you should think that this also is for your good. Whatever others may do, think that it is all for your own good. Perform all action with the aim of redeeming your life. See to it that you do not lose your humanness. You may lose any property, but do not lose the property of humanness. Lead your life always smiling and blissfully. but laughing unnecessarily is also not good. Perform all actions with good intentions. When you perform good actions, your thoughts will also be good. When your mind is filled with good thoughts, all your bad thoughts disappear. Therefore, always develop only good thoughts. This will lead to good health. We should love everyone. Love all, serve all. If you adhere to these principles, you will always have good health. It is necessary to be healthy. Health is not limited only to the physical body. It includes mental well-being also. Never eat improper food. Eat only food items that are good and sacred and have been sanctified by offering to God. Not offer improper food to God. Offer only sacred and pure sattvic food to God and clean utensils. You get the result in accordance with the offering that you make. As are the actions, so will be the result. It is not possible to get good results by performing bad actions. Therefore, we should perform good actions and experience good fruits. Then only can we have good health. If we eat good food, we will have good thoughts. But people today say one thing and do something else. Once a renunciant sannyasi came to a house and begged for food. The housewife said to him, "My dear son, go to the river and have your bath. Meanwhile, I will prepare food for you." This renunciant was an epitome of laziness. He said to her, "Mother, for renunciants like us, reciting the name of Govinda is like having a bath." The intelligent housewife gave him a befitting reply, saying, "Reciting the name of Govinda is like having food. Hence you may go. It is meaningless to say reciting the name of Govinda is like having a bath. You justify laziness and not have a bath. When you say that reciting the name of Govinda is like having a bath, you should also accept that the recitation of his name amounts to having food. We should observe property in our life.
Okay. So I thought I will pick Swami's brief talk about 3 minutes on the unity of thought, word, and deed, which is relevant to what we are talking, just to see how important it is. So let me play that one, Saira. Sairam, I think I will stop here because he's Swami. Yes. They cannot hear. Oh, they cannot hear this. Oh, okay, okay. I think okay, that's caption here. Okay. Okay, Sairam. I think, let me, no, there is one more video coming. So, okay. What I will do is, sorry about that. What I will do is, uh, here in the Zoom, when I launch the Zoom, I should, okay, I'm so sorry. Because I don't want to close the Zoom meeting and then launch it. No, I can stop share and share it again. Just hold on. Huh? Okay. Only the video, but I think we will continue. There is one more video I have prepared. Let me stop sharing and then share it again. Sorry about that. Share. Share sound. Okay, that's what. Okay. Okay. Sairam. So that was Swami's talk. I just stopped there because he just goes to the unity of mankind. But what is relevant for what we are discussing now is the unity of thought, word, and deed, which extends to unity of mankind also. So that he stresses on how important it is for the thought, word, and deed to be united. So I thought let's start off with why do we deviate from what we think when we say? First, let's look at that. What prompts us? Because we know that it is important for the unity of thought, word, and deed. So the thought comes to us, but why don't we just say what the thought comes to us? Why do we deviate from it? Or the other way, why do we deviate from what we say when we actually do? Because when we do something, we don't exactly follow what we say, we deviate from it. So that is the whole reason for this, the unity of thought, word, and if we just say what our thoughts are, and if we do what we say, there is no problem there. But we don't do that. So what is making us do that? Let's think about it and let's see if we can find that may help us in trying to find a solution for it, or at least help us correct ourselves. Anybody has any thought as to why we deviate from it?
We deviate because we ourselves are not 100% confident. Because, yeah, so we try to always find shortcuts.
Hmm.
We try to find shortcuts and what will be good for, which will look good, or,
Mhm.
which might sound good. So that creates a difference in the actual thought, saying, and what we do.
Mhm.
If we are, so that is the whole purpose of satsang and listening to the same thing repeatedly, so that that thought becomes strong enough that we ourselves become so confident about that thought and we actually do that.
Mhm.
That stage will come. So that is the process. That's the process of making it strong enough. We deviate because we are not
Strong. We are
we're not
not strong. We are not strong. Okay, that's a good point. Yes. Yes.
So when we try to do that, when we try to implement putting all three properties together, unity, thought, word, and deed,
Mhm.
number of time, maximum number of times, what as an individual, if we try to do that, we look out for self satisfactory options
Mm.
or comfort,
Mhm.
right? I'll give you a small example. So by practicing this, okay, we start to practice, we start to put this, in a line, and we try it with the simpler daily mundane tasks.
Mhm.
If suppose every day 4 o'clock to 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I'm going to some park or amusement park or movie or something like that. It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Mhm.
But I just took an example.
Mhm.
So when we start to, instead of that, we utilize that time into some spiritual practice or some educational delivery practice like tuitions or something, we can do that. But we decide that we should do that from tomorrow. Moment we decide that we should do that, our brain tricks us in such a way that
Mind.
mind tricks us in such a way that, oh, if you're not going to the park tomorrow, you might not enjoy, or you might not feel relaxed. There again the fear starts. So now we search for the satisfactory options. What are those? Okay, just for tomorrow I'll go to park. From day after tomorrow I'll do this practice, or I'll go to park for only half an hour, come back and then do this also. So we are looking for comfort. That comfort searching is starting from the fear. That fear is starting from the trick of the brain, mind played. And again, on top of all this, our heart is agreeing to the trick what mind played.
No, the heart is just a
mean,
witness.
yeah.
It will just keep it will just say something and then keep
Correct,
quiet.
correct.
Yeah.
So so if we elaborate this in step-by-step way,
Mhm.
and to know the self-satisfactory, and in Telugu there is a word, I'm sorry, I forgot in English exact point
That's
of time.
okay.
I'm not getting. In Telugu there is a word called samardinchukovam. Samardinchukovam means you are advocating your mistakes. You're being a lawyer to defend your mistakes and creating that as a right thing. I mean, like
Justifying
justifying yourself.
Yeah.
So that should be controlled.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the justification process should be controlled at any given point of time, at any given aspect that you try to implement in daily life or spiritual life. So again, as Soumya Garu said, for that you need to identify what is white and what is black. But that is again another topic. So yeah, to conclude my this thing, what's trying to stop us to put the unity of word, thought, and deed in a straight line is the self-justification.
Self-justice. So, okay, this one was not enough strength, not enough confidence. Yours is self-satisfaction, what do you say, pleasing or whatever it is, pleasing to the senses. Yes.
So I want to add one more dimension, and that is, if it is a conversation between two people, it's more to satisfy, depends on who that person is. The boss, you want to kind of make sure that this thing doesn't hurt him. So you just express what he will like. And so it's more like other people, satisfying
Pleasing the other people.
Pleasing the other people, and at the cost of knowing that that's not the right thing.
Yeah, very good, Saira. Very good.
I would add one more thing to it is to speak what you think, it takes a lot of courage. Okay, not only confidence, also you should have the courage to face the reaction from others. See, if I say what is on my mind and I say it, and then I should be ready to take the feedback. All right. Also, if I am very convinced in what I am saying, then I will say it. What I'm thinking is the right thing according to me. Okay, they can correct me. So when we say something, what we are thinking, but we are saying the opposite, it is mainly to please others, right? And what is good for me, if I say something to, gain something, then I say it, but not necessarily what I am thinking I should say. So it shows the character also. That
Yes.
many times when we say what we think, we don't get a good response. You won't be popular, right? If the straightforward speaking person may not be very popular one, because they don't want to hear what you have to say if it is not, right? Complimentary or beneficial to them. So it takes a lot of courage. And if we are very convinced what we are doing the right thing, I don't mind saying what I am thinking. Right? So that's what my point.
I want to go one step back, right? Thought. So first is there are two types of thoughts. broadly speaking. One is the thought of purity, pure thoughts, right? And the other one is, not, I won't call it impure thought, body-based thoughts. There are two types of thoughts. And usually when it concerns and something like, most of the time our thought is body-based thoughts, not pure thoughts. And so first we need to really, really think deep about whenever we speak something, why are we speaking that? We need to understand. You have to speak less, but before you do that, the thought itself, you have to analyze the thought really well. You have to be a very critical in judging your thoughts. You have to say, am I saying because of this body attachment, right? Or am I saying because that is the truth? Because truth, I may think one thing as true, the other person might think something else as true, right? So I have, and each person has the right to think the way they do. But whenever we say something, the word, if it is unkind, please do not state it.
Yeah. That's very
Period.
clear. Yeah.
Period, right? So period, just keep quiet, but do not state something that is unpleasant for others. But if you have to state it, learn to talk in kind manner so that you come across and say that, but at least in a very loving and very man. That you can do only when you are not attached to the self.
Yes, I agree with what you said. Just a small addition. This is from sender's side. This is from our side that we should, not stating the words. And if we receive or we hear some other people saying, not kind words to us, then also we should put the same thing in practice. Take that, to take that into heart, and because people criticize us often, in any industry or any, only the difference is either they criticize you on your face or on your back. If it's on your back, don't think about it. If it's on your face, then the same words you said should be also implemented in the receiving end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, when somebody says something negative, not negative, criticizes you for something, take it as in a good way, that this is a good for me, so I can correct myself. Maybe there is some truth in it. Maybe, see, usually you will feel that that's not true. What that person says is his or her perception. I am not that. I am different. That is the first thought that will come. Then you can analyze and say, maybe there is a truth in that one. Maybe there is also true. Maybe there is a point that I have not seen in myself. Maybe I need to correct myself. So that thought will come. So that thought will get provoked only when the other person tells. So we have to thank that person for pointing us on whatever our weakness or whatever aspect we have not thought of about ourselves. Very good point.
So the same point, if if the criticism is true, we should learn from the criticism, improving ourselves. If criticism is false, that's also helpful, putting our ego down. That's a beating on our ego. So that also is good. So both, that's the that's the way we used to remember that, that we used to get scolded for many times for some of not our faults also. So that's just beating your ego. Just even if it's not your fault, we used to get a lot of beating. So still to put your ego down. So if someone criticizes, so using the I lost my thought. So what Umaji was just mentioning, so it again comes to Vedantic level of how strong your buddhi is to tame it, to train it so well, so that no extra thoughts will come, no extra speak will come. And bringing Shankaranji's thing, I was thinking in last 10 minutes how to bring that conscious in it. It is there. I mean, I was trying to coded with Sanskrit word. That itself is that chitta. So that is that who tells you, who is speaking from the back of your mind always, no, you're going wrong. So that is the chitta. Who is that which is that concentrated form? Chitta is that concentrated form. Who which will speak from inside. No, it's not, it should not be like that. So I'm trying to put that. So once it's all the process, it's a continuous process. Keep training, speak appropriate, as Soumyaji said, but sometimes we tend to say it because of the old habits. No, because old habit. So I apologize. So that's the old habit. Yeah. So but that that will be trained when the mana will be more subtle, yeah, and buddhi is more kushagra, and the chitta. So by repeated training, that you will not say wrong things, you will not say bad things. It's all slow training process of your inside. That's it.
Yeah, very good, Simon.
There is
Yeah.
one from Manusmriti, Manusmrit.
Mhm.
If I can read the
Yeah, please.
Sanskrit and, I
Yeah.
like to.
Yes, please.
This is a famous one. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. Priyam cha nanrutam bruyat. Isha dharmaha sanatanaha. That means speak the truth, right? We are talking about the truth, but what we think, what we speak, then it is the truth. Okay. Speak the truth, speak pleasantly. Do not speak the truth in an unpleasant manner. Okay. Even if it is very pleasant, don't speak untruth.
Exactly. That is
Right?
if so, if it is getting
That is the problem,
it
right?
is getting to the level that you have to say the truth, you are trying to avoid being unpleasant. But if it comes at the end of that moment that you have to choose between the truth which is not pleasant versus the untruth which is pleasant, you
Yeah.
still go with the truth.
Yeah. But
That
what,
is-
yeah, but what we do, we speak that
Untruth.
untruth in a
Please.
very pleasant manner.
Exactly. So
Right?
that is the point.
That is the thing. Yeah.
Ultimately, you try to be pleasant. But when you're being pleasant, if you are at the end, you feel that you are going to the untruth side, stop there.
Yeah.
At
Right.
that moment, if you may have to use sometimes unpleasant words, but ultimately the truth will prevail. That's the ultimate thing.
Right.
So,
Right.
So I'll
First point that, what you feel comfortable with. And that's why we, do something which is unpleasant. You know that it is untrue, but you say that just because you want to be, like, uh,
So I have to bring my dad in here for. So my dad, he thinks like he was very, very, disciplined in every sense. And so anything that he felt was not right, he would not talk. He will simply get up and walk away. That's it. You know that he's not happy about that situation. Now he won't be a part of it. That's it. That's it. So no words will come out him. So unkind words would never come out of his mouth. But he would not participate in anything that he feels is not right. He'll simply get up and walk away. That's all it is for him. So that is a part I'm trying to imbibe. That is very critical because once you say something, it is like a arrow that has come out of the bow. It is going to hurt that person, and that is a big karmic thing that I'm worried that I'll be taking with me. Instead, just it is not right. You know that is you don't want to participate in it. Just get up and walk away. Done.
Yeah. Very good, Prayam. See, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
talking about criticism, Swami has said this, if it is true, okay, work on it. If it is not true, just ignore it because it shouldn't. So the idea of that getting into the ego doesn't come into the picture because you just discard it because it's not true. Now, only when you try to take it and then fight with the ego, that's where the problem comes.
While we practice this, we should also think about the time of implementation in the real scenario, real world scenario. As you're mentioning um, um, about taking the criticism or taking this thing.
Mhm.
So when we take the criticism and to act, you have to train your mind in such a way that you should act immediately. The silence you're mentioning about your father, that we have to act immediately. We should not throw a word and go back home and realize that and drench in that feelings.
Correct.
Or drag, keep your so uh, so 2 months or like 5 months ago, I've been criticized with a very, very unfamiliar word. I mean, not a word. It's like we all went to what is that, Universal Studios, me and with my friends.
Mhm.
Because my friend who's in Milwaukee, I keep telling about, We are friends from 17 years. While we are in the trip or we are in the movies or anywhere, one of us will pay first and then we will look upon the accounts and something. That's happening that day. He said, I'll take care, you don't worry. And he's paying everywhere. And I'm standing behind, tickets and kind of thing. Suddenly, one of the group member came to me and in front of everyone, she said that, oh, you are always not paying, you are backing up from paying, you are letting your friend pay. That's very clever act. She said that among all people. And we both looked at each other. Then what I said, I don't know. I could have said anything. I could have said, go, don't mind your business. But what I said, who, me? Okay, fine. That's what I said. Ilage, I mean, like, yeah, okay, fine. Then said, I went away. And then her husband, like scolded her. You know what? Why? They both are friends. They would do anything. Why do you go interfere and say that among 10 people? And then I know this would happen. If I talk there, if I give back there, that would be more trouble between wife and husband. That would be more trouble when we next time go to the trip. So I thought all this in a flash of second, and I replied like, okay, fine. So that flash of second should be implemented. That's what I'm saying from this example.
Very
Because to reply or to be silent, the timeliness should be trained to.
Very good, Sarah. So one additional reason that I thought could be, one of the reasons why we would deviate from what our thoughts is the social norm also. When everybody does something, we also think that we should do the same. When it is a norm that you praise your boss, okay, you do something because that is a norm, or you do something just because everybody does, even though you are not, just in your heart you say you're not agreeing with it. So we do that. So that is also another reason why I thought. So let's go to the other way. What are the advantages of having the unity of thought, word, and deed? I mean, Swami says that is extremely important, but just from the practical standpoint, from us, if we just say what our thoughts come, or do what we say, because when it comes to doing what we say, also there are practical challenges, a lot of challenges. We may say something in the spur of the moment, we may say something, but we may not be able to keep it, because to actually, when we want to do what we said, it might have been a big thing, because we would have felt, oh my God, why did I say it? But you have already said it. You cannot go back and take your word. So you have to follow, you have to do it. So in that, one of the examples that I have been quoting, the Swami's student, he commits to the rag pickers. He's been training them for Guru Purnima, this one somewhere in the north, after he graduated from Swami's college. He trains them for a drama for Guru Purnima, and that happens to be on a weekend. And then his boss says that you have to accompany a Japanese delegation through the weekend. You have to entertain them. You have to keep them. So now he is caught in a dilemma. See, this is what happens. So I think definitely he has told all of the boys that this Saturday or Sunday, you're going to perform the drama. So he has given the word. And then his boss tells him. Now, normally what we would do, we think the boss is superior. The boys are just boys. We can tell the boys that, sorry, we cannot do this weekend. We will do it next weekend. But what he decides to do is to be with the boys, ignore the boss, because that's what his heart tells, and he's maintaining the word that he has given. So, and what happens? Swami takes his place, and through the weekends, because Monday he goes thinking that he's going to be fired, but he goes there and everybody is appreciating. Oh, wow, what a wonderful job you have done. You have accompanied the Japanese delegation. They are all so impressed. So what we do is generally we are afraid. We are afraid. We fear that if we don't do this, something major will happen. So that fear comes into the picture. Why we deviate from what we say is from what we do is that fear. So that complete faith is not there. I think that is the reason why we deviate. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. 5%. Okay. So yeah, any other closing points? I think we are just in the first question because it's a very important topic. That's the reason. So I also, okay, go ahead. Yeah, you had.
That's a very good closing point. For
Yeah.
faith is the
Yeah.
something.
So faith is the main thing, and complete faith, total unconditional faith, that no matter what, this is the thought I am getting, so I'm going to say it. So yes, definitely there has to be a filter. We don't say all the thoughts that come to us. Definitely Swami has given us that filter. So the what we say, there definitely a filter. So say less, say the truth. And also Swami has given a wonderful, this one. You see a blind person and then you say, oh, look at that blind person in front of him. If we say that, that person is going to be offended. You're saying the truth. That is that Vachasyakam, not yeah, so Satyam Apriyam. So you cannot say that in front of him because he will get offended. So that is a Swami gives that example. Same. So what I wanted to say was that faith is the main thing. Total unconditional faith, if we have, then there is no reason why we have to deviate. So why we deviate is probably because our faith is not as strong. The faith meaning no matter what, I'm going to tell the truth or I'm going to do what I say. I'm going to let Swami or the divinity will take care of it. So if we have that faith, I'm thinking that we won't need to deviate at all. The strength of the thing. The strength comes from the faith. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Sairam. I think we will end today's study circle. Anybody has any closing comments or anything want to share? Okay. We will end with Om and Tri Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you everyone for participating.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.